Chapter 12. Loch Reed. Juliana found sleep impossible that night. The terrible events of the day clung to her like sulphur and scalded her heart with a burning pain. "Sanctuary! I need sanctuary!" her instincts cried out. She silently slid out of the cowshed and wandered aimlessly through the darkness of Striven. Eventually, she was not sure how, she chanced upon an abandoned boathouse built on the edge of a large lake. The weatherboard oak of the boathouse had aged and mellowed to a silvery colour. Though decaying through disuse, it looked sturdy and comforting in this watery wilderness. A sign on the boathouse read, "Loch Reed." Apart from the lapping of the water against the boathouse, all was silent. No osprey fished, no wind murmured its pale evensong through the truncated trees and silver reeds that lined the banks. The damp air itself seemed to dampen the sounds too. Moored to the boathouse was a small boat or dinghy. She carefully untied it, climbed in, and gripped the wooden handle of the oar. Lift, catch, pull through, release. Slowly she felt the pull of water against her wrist. With each stroke she began to feel calmer. Lift, catch, pull through, release. She could feel her muscles respond to the strong water under her. She could feel it from the heels of her feet, through her back, and to her fingertips. Her strokes were true and clean. It felt good to pull so hard. A steaming, dove-coloured mist rose over the entire lake. As her little shell swished through the water, it felt as if she was rowing through a cloud. Dipping and twisting, her oars glided, and only sometimes splashed through the water. She maintained a steady rhythm and pace as she rowed through the fog to the middle of the lake. The clunk of the oars in the oarlock sounded as she let go. Feeling more serene, she stopped to look at this lovely, placid lake. She trailed a hand through the water and wondered what ancient secrets its watery depths held. Plenty, she was sure. A sort of liquid history, she told herself. Out here, I'm a rock in a loch. I'm an island, and a rock feels no pain, and an island never cries, she thought. A song from her mum's Simon and Garfunkel CD filtered into memory. If she'd never have come to Striven, she would never have seen these horrors. She never would have cried or felt this sadness for her own and others' plight. Sure, life could be dull back home, but isn't boredom better than pain? A safe, beige life better than a risky red one? While musing thus and finding solace in the strange, quiet beauty of the lake, far off in the distance a light appeared. It looked like sunlight, yet it couldn't be. It was the middle of the night. Yet the light grew and became a blaze of colour. Where it touched the mist, it turned it to a fiery orange, almost like a liquid fire. The light chased away the greyness of the night, replacing it with deep reds and oranges. The areas outside the light were grey and drab. "Oh, the light," she said, mesmerised. A brilliant beam of this light brushed a band across the lake. Silhouetted in this band, a lone bird arced against the Tabasco sky. "Surely a bird can't have that wingspan," marvelled Juliana, unable to take her eyes off the spectacle. "It's huge, and it looks kind of odd. Oh, it has a pouched beak." Then the bird circled the lake, glided down to the banks of the lake, and she saw that it was a pelican. It was very large, about the height of a man. It was white, except for the black tips on the edge of its feathers. It shifted its weight on its webbed feet, moved a little closer to the water, and fixed her with its darkly lustrous eyes. Then the pelican blinked and seemed to smile at her in an intriguing way. She couldn't explain why, But at his smile she forgot all about her home and striven, the black bread and green grog, and all the hardships and terror she had experienced here. This bird was odd, beautiful, and terribly majestic, and this strange combination decentered her. Juliana felt at once unnerved by this silent encounter, yet utterly transfixed. Presently the pelican dropped something shiny from its bill and let it fall to the ground. Then it raised and lowered its long beak a couple of times, in the way that pelicans do. "Who art thou?" Juliana murmured. She blinked and trembled and felt a thrill of hope all at the same time. But she felt too scared to move. Juliana could not row on, yet she could not go back. All this time Aurora Borealis, the northern night lights show, glowed. Then the pelican slowly picked up the small shiny object from the earth with its beak, gracefully lifted its giant wings and flew away. In its wake it left 2 words in letters of fire traced in the sky: "Remember me." The wine-dark night closed in again. With beating heart she took the sculls and wearily turned shoreward. She realized, for the first time, that a small core of resolve had knotted in her heart like a stone. She shuddered again at the recollection of the previous day's horror. No one should ever suffer that unspeakable fate. She paused her paddling for a moment and took out the little white embroidered hanky. "Soon the pelican will fly, striven's foe he'll nullify." She did not know how, or where, or when, or even why, but she knew in every atom of her body that this was the pelican of the riddle, and he would do this seemingly impossible thing. And she would do her bit too. If all that was asked of her was to help rid Striven of its ugly terror, and to find a measly little stone, then she would do it. By goodness, she would.